Kwekskina, ici Alexandre, accompagné de mon collègue André Dusdomaine. Cette semaine, nous avons Michael Patten qui va être avec nous, en fait, puis sa collègue Béatrice La Rochelle. En fond, ils vont se rejoindre très bientôt à nous, en fait. On va juste laisser parler André. Je pense qu'il y avait des petites annonces à faire.
Oui, Wadia, bonjour tout le monde. Good afternoon, yes, it's almost afternoon. Alors aujourd'hui, je pense qu'on va être bilingue.
C'est ça, on a un invité anglophone et francophone.
Okay.
On va pouvoir faire les deux côtés, les deux langues en fait.
Alors, we will switch to English and revenir au français. Alors, un va-et-vient, back and forth, English and French today. So this would be a very bilingual podcast today. And, well, trilingual because, of course, we will have the opportunity to hear some Atikamekw languages with Alexandre. Alors, je vous signale que je devrais quitter très rapidement. I will have to leave soon because, mais c'est une bonne nouvelle. I am presenting for the opening of a big encounter of the summer festivals in Montreal. Le partenariat du quartier des spectacles a créé un forum des festivals d'été. Tous ceux qui ont lieu là, dans le quartier des spectacles, des grands festivals, et évidemment, Présence autochtone en fait partie. Et on m'a demandé de participer au mot d'ouverture d'une rencontre de l'ensemble des festivals. Et ce qui va être dit, ce qui va être annoncé, c'est que grâce à ce forum, maintenant, on cherche à établir de plus en plus de collaboration entre les festivals. We are looking to share equipments, to share workforce, to look at all kind of collaboration, also to promote the Montreal as the place to come where there is always a festival ongoing. And we are happy to see that now there is a real recognition of Présence autochtone and, of course, as the indigenous arts and culture as part of the cultural landscape of Georgia, Montréal. Et d'ailleurs, une autre des preuves les plus évidentes de cette présence des arts et cultures autochtones dans la ville, c'est évidemment la magnifique biennale d'art contemporain autochtone. C'est cette année qu'elle a lieu, elle vient de démarrer. C'est un énorme projet où il y a plein de galeries, de lieux de diffusion et d'artistes qui sont impliqués. C'est vraiment quelque chose d'important. Donc, nous tenions à avoir les principaux organisateurs avec nous. Alors, Alexandre, tu vas les inviter à se joindre à nous. Et Gabrielle Piché, ma collègue à la direction, va très bientôt prendre le relais parce que je devrais prendre un bixi électrique et filer comme l'éclair jusqu'au pavillon de l'Esplanade Tranquille où je suis attendu.
Ça, c'est nos invités Michael Patten et Béatrice La Rochelle du biennale autochtone. Moi, j'appelle toujours le BACA. Mais...
Biennale d'art contemporain autochtone.
Ouais, c'est ça, merci. Bon. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
If you could present yourself, what you do, what you are, where you're from.
Sure. Mon nom est Mike Patten. Je suis le commissaire et le directeur de la B.A.C. Je viens de Saskatchewan. Je suis un membre de la Zagime First Nation en Saskatchewan.
Ok, merci.
On va demander, je pense, à Béatrice, aussi.
Oui, donc moi, je m'appelle Béatrice Larochelle. Je suis allochtone et j'ai travaillé pour la Biennale d'art contemporain autochtone cette année, en 2022, pour assister à la coordination. Donc, assister Christine et Michael, finalement.
Parfait. The theme this year is Land Back. Can you explain how this theme is acted by the artists, contemporary artists in their works and in their show at the Biennale?
Sure. Well, the theme Land Back was suggested by our guest researcher, Alexandra Nordstrom. She provided a lengthy text in the catalog. It's a 3,000-word text talking about the issue of land back and Indigenous sovereignty. And so the works present in the BACA, they go in many different areas. It isn't just political, but it's also about returning to the earth, about seeds, about planting, and about the future. So there's a wide range. And I really wanted to do that because I didn't want it to be too narrow of a focus. And land back made sense to us too, because, I'm present in many demonstrations and protests. And this is a phrase that keeps coming up. And I think it's powerful because of its simplicity and clear message.
Effectively, the name of our organization is Terres en Vue, and it can be translated as Land in Sight. So it was also a way to assume that we are in a way of, in a sense, retake what has been lost. Est-ce qu'on peut parler aussi de l'étendue, hein? Parce qu'il y a beaucoup de lieux, et même pas seulement Montréal, si j'ai bien compris. Alors, est-ce qu'on pourrait nous donner un aperçu de tous ces partenaires réunis pour la Biennale?
Yep, so we have 8 official partners, and we have satellite programming. So we have the Musée des Beaux-Arts de Sherbrooke, the Maison des Jésuites de Sillery near Quebec City, the Maison de la Culture Verdun, that's really close to where I live, the Galerie d'Art Stewart Hall in Pointe Claire, Galerie Art Mur in Rosemont, Le Guild en Centreville, the Musée de McCord, and the Expression in Saint-Hyacinthe, and that opens later in October. And our satellite spaces is Galerie La Roche Jonca in the Belgo building, Centre d'Art Daphne, right next to Art Mur. It's the brand new artist-run Indigenous center, and Galerie Chicon. And this space is actually in our BACA offices, and it's dedicated to emerging Indigenous artists of Quebec. Because we felt like often these exhibitions have so many artists from the West and the South. We wanted to give a voice to the people here in this community. So it's a project where, we can actively find and support artists from this region.
Et cette galerie Chegon, c'est intéressant à deux niveaux. D'abord parce que il semble qu'avec Armure, Daphné, et cette galerie-là, dans le même secteur de la rue Saint-Hubert, on commence à avoir un noyau autochtone, d'une part. Mais also, is this new gallery Chegon is there only for the BACA this year, or if it will be a permanent place?
Yeah, it's a permanent. We started last year, and it's going to be an ongoing project.
Okay, good. Can you speak about the young artist who is there for the BACA? I think he or she is from Ganawagi.
Yeah, that's right. I think Alexis Gros-Louis is from near Quebec, isn't he, Beatrice?
Yes, he's from Wendake.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. And Terry Randy Awashish is the curator of the exhibition, and it ties really well with the exhibition at Art Mur and Land Back in general, because there's a lot of medicinal plants and territory references in the exhibition.
on va bien sûr partager le lien parce que il y a un site web vraiment magnifique. Hein. There is a internet site where we can find all the exhibit performances, shows that could be seen. And I think we cannot, in the few minutes we have in the podcast, explain it all, but at least we can have a glimpse of it. À la galerie Art-Mur a vraiment été, dès le départ, un des premiers, hein, presque la rampe de lancement de B.F.A. Alors donc, à tout seigneur, tout honneur, on pourrait peut-être décrire ce qu'on peut voir maintenant, what we can see right now, if we go to the Art-Mur Gallery.
Well, you can see Raven Shakan is one of the major pieces there. And he just won the Pulitzer Prize in music.
Wow.
For a piece that he had done at another location. But it's a series of 16 suspended speakers. And what you hear is a Navajo creation story. And you can hear the voice being pulled from speaker to speaker to speaker in this kind of arc. But there's overlap. So there's this story, but it becomes, you can hear many parts at the same time. So the story becomes almost convoluted. So it's kind of this, and it's an atmosphere full of lights that change over the course of the day. So it's interesting. Yeah.
Yes, of course. And we know how good the people at Art-Mur are to put the works in space. They are doing an amazing presentation of the art they have to show in their gallery. And,
yeah, the exhibition of B.F.A started there as a group show in 2012, curated by Nadia Mir. And I was actually an artist in that show. And then the following edition, I was invited to be the curator, which is a big deal for me because at the time I had no experience or very little curating. And now I find myself in the position of the director. So I've been moving from role to role. And when I first took the position of curator or even the director, I felt like a little bit of imposter syndrome because even though I'm First Nations, I was always raised in the city. And from being from Saskatchewan, I'm just kind of displaced. So I feel like I'm always like an outsider a bit. That's why I'm really happy that I'm going to Kahnawake this Sunday for a ceremony about harvest and seed. So I could feel like I can get connected to the community, and it's going to help inform my practice, and it's just going to help me in the future.
Yes, I often say we have now this territorial recognition to say that Montreal is an indigenous land. We ask everyone, every event to start with that statement. And if it is an indigenous land, you can feel at home. We have, of course, we have some territory to take back in the city, and it is, I think, the land that is where the art galleries is one of the territory we have to retake, and I think B.F.A is doing a great artistic warrior job. So you are we are happy to have you as a war chief.
Okay, thank you.
Can you give us a bit of your background?
Background? Yeah, from Saskatchewan, from the Zagime First Nation. Zagime means mosquito. And if you've been to Saskatchewan in the summer, you'd know why. I studied painting and drawing at the University of Regina with a double major and a minor in art history. And then I moved to Montreal in about 2003, started working in an art gallery. So I've been working in galleries since then. and been an art mirror since 2008. So it's been a long road.
Okay. Yeah. Is it a show or a performance, an artist that you are particularly proud to present this year?
Oh, I'm proud of all of them for sure. It's hard to like pinpoint just one, because I find like it works as a whole. Like I said, I like that it's touching on many different things. It's hard to choose one, I think.
Okay. If I see a young artist, Kyle Williams, can you speak a bit about him and his work?
Yeah, he was one of the first artists to be showing in the Chicon gallery, which is great because he brought in so many people from the community. People were coming and asking questions and discovering the gallery. He had many different paintings. He had some portraits of people close to him that were, I think a part of that was reproduced for the, oh no, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm just getting mixed up. He also had paintings of the bridges, the Mercier Bridge, which I thought was interesting conceptually, bridging between Montreal and the community there. So it's a bit of a retrospective of his art making.
It's interesting because he is a young artist emerging, and he is from and living in the community. That's I think is really important.
Yeah, it's great to be able to give him that experience mounting a show and working with a curator and from start to finish. So it just for professionalization.
I see also that you are at the Maison de la Culture de Verdun, which is a beautiful space. Many people in Montreal didn't know yet the place, but it worth to be seen, the place itself. But right now there is a reason more. You have part of the backup that happens there. Maybe you can speak about what we can discover in Verdun.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the exhibition. I really like how it came together. Really beautiful space if nobody's been there. It's just like a big square, but it looks like a museum. It's like very clean, very professional. So the works there kind of dealing with Indigenous futurism. One of the works there is a virtual reality piece from Lawrence Paul and Paisley Smith. So basically, you put on the headset and you're in this natured environment, and your job is to kind of save it. Because these fires are starting and it's burning in the forest and there's embers, and you're kind of in this game where you're shooting arrows, creating life again, like green space. So if you don't keep up, the world kind of burns around you, and there's a really beautiful dialogue from the artist that you can hear during that. So I think it's a nice. I haven't seen too many Indigenous virtual reality artists, so I was excited to have such a powerful piece. And we also have an augmented reality piece by Quinn Hopkins. And what you do is you take your smartphone and you scan the QR code, and then you can place his sculpture anywhere in the room. You can resize it and walk around it. So it's quite interesting to see a sculpture, virtually like that.
Yeah, I remember Lawrence Paul used to have this performance when he was shooting at the Indian Act.
Oh,
now he asks people to shoot. He is getting older.
Yeah.
And also, I am curious, what do you have at the Maison des Jésuites in Sillery?
Oh yeah, the Sillery. That's a really special space because the building, I think it's from the 17th century, and it's just that loaded history. And when I was invited to that space, I thought it was important to have reference to the residential school system, especially with the Pope and his recent apology and all of that. So even though the Jesuits is now it's not run by Jesuits, it's run by Quebec City, but one of the pieces is by Carrie Newman. It's a video based on a major installation that he has in Ottawa, I think at the Museum of Civilization, I think it is, where it's all remnants of residential schools that he's kind of made mosaics out of. So it's photography and building remnants and objects. And the video on itself is quite interesting too, because there's pieces coming together like a jigsaw puzzle. We also have an installation by Roxanne Charles George from Vancouver, and they're cast hands out of cement, and they're all coming out of a floating wall. And they're actually, one of the hands, I believe, are from her grandmother that attended a residential school. So it's quite haunting, and to have all these hands coming from the wall reaching out into the space. Also a video of Lisa Jackson. It's another video about residential schools where it tells a story of a mother and a child that leaves. But then there's a real break in the video, and it becomes like a zombie dance video, which is very strange, but it's very that's what's interesting about it. But basically it's taking the life out of these children and making them perform, being in a school, telling them how to act. So that was the reason behind that video. Yeah. And also Jacob Metters, he has an installation of he sourced dirt from the area and brought it in to the space for an installation as like a point of healing, referencing like a roundhouse. So he has these ceramic objects and painted quilts, and yeah.
Tu avais une question, Alexandre?
Non, je suis en train de faire ma petite recherche linguistique.
C'est-tu sur les mosquitos?
Oui.
J'avais deviné.
Je pensais que c'était un autre mot, mais finalement, je m'en vais dans une autre direction. Fait que je vais vous montrer ça tantôt.
OK. Nous, on a souvent, à Terres en Vue, on a souvent collaboré avec McGill et la Guilde. So I am curious to see what you have to present at those two places.
Yeah, we tried to have these kind of sub-themes from each of the locations. So the Guild has a West Coast, kind of the roots. That was our kind of working title. The one thing I thought was nice when I was researching artists from the West Coast is there's that tradition of the master and apprentice, which I think is really nice to have that lineage. And a lot of the prints that you'll see there are from the 60s and 70s, as well as some more contemporary pieces. But I really like that dialogue between, the past and present.
Yeah, and they have also that beautiful exhibition by Niap Sanders, the Inuit. They have opened it a couple of months ago, but that's also worth the visit when we go to. And at the Guild, what do you have?
Yeah, the Guild is where we have the West Coast theme.
Oh, the West Coast. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw that. What's his name? Mischief Testicle is there too. Can you? I saw his name. What is his participation this year?
Oh, I don't. That's you mean Ken Monkman?
Yeah, of course.
Oh no, he's not in the edition this year. That was the last one, I think. Or 2 years.
I would have liked to see him.
Yeah. We did have some of his paintings here.
Okay.
But his show at the McCord was incredible. I really liked it.
Yeah, it was extraordinary.
Yeah.
You mean the one with the l'atelier of the...
Yeah, and it was really well integrated with the collection at the McCord and the history and just all the mannequins and the textiles and the paintings are really nice.
Yes, and the reference to Courbet, the famous French painters, and one of his most symbolic work, the l'atelier du peintre, and he put himself in the role of Courbet. It was really. I know now the McCord have bought it, so they can show it once in a while, and I think it's really happy that they have this space in Montreal, because it is so rooted in Montreal history. The archives he worked with, I really I am also a big fan of Kent, and especially this piece is really a major piece of art.
Yes.
I suppose there is performances to that will happen during the B.A, so maybe you can give us a glimpse what we can see.
Well, most of the performers were on the opening day on May 1st, and we chose Place du Canada as the spot just because of the John A. Macdonald statue and the significance of that area. I was actually there that day, and I was so shocked that they pulled it down. But I think it's a really turning point in history, and I think that's something that's coming up a lot, where we're questioning about history and what it means, and so yeah, we started there, and we had the Buffalo Hat Singers came and they performed. Then we had hoop dance from Barbara Diabo, and then we had some singing and drumming from Mo Clark. But we're also going to have a surprise guest next week at the Guild, so stay tuned.
Okay.
On the 19th it opens.
Okay, so the 19th at the Guild at what time?
At I think it's 5. Let me just double check and make sure I'm saying the right time. Oh, starting at 6.
Okay, so this is for the curious. This is the time to. You have to put it at your agenda. 19 à la Guilde. Alors, sur la rue Sherbrooke-Ouest, vous vérifiez l'adresse. Et là, il y a quelque chose de spécial qui nous attend. Et malheureusement, nous n'avons pas le scoop aujourd'hui. Alors, mais on est quand même très, très curieux de voir ce qui va y arriver. I think it has had a big growth during la B.A, la Biennale d'art contemporain. C'est devenu, chaque année, il me semble que ça prend de plus en plus d'importance et d'espace et que ça va très vite. Hein? Est-ce que je me trompe ou si c'est...
Yeah, it's been exponential. It's been great. It's been blossoming, and there's no shortage of venues coming to us saying, like, just for an example, I shouldn't say until it's confirmed, but there was an organization, a gallery that's outside of Montreal. It says, I really like what you guys are doing. I think it's important. We don't have enough Indigenous programming, and we recognize that, and we'd like to invite you for the next edition. So that's happened a few places already. People have contacted us. So we don't have a shortage of places to show. But it's such a big job now. We need a bigger team.
Yeah.
Just, me, Christine, and also Beatrice was a big help with helping me with the text and everything and communication with the artists.
Oui, Béatrice, on ne vous a pas entendu. Peut-être vous pourriez nous donner un peu votre impression, commencer de suivre un bourreau de travail comme Michael Patten. Ça ne doit pas être facile.
Oui, là, ma connexion Internet vraiment limite en ce moment, mais bon, ouais, c'était vraiment un plaisir de travailler pour la B.A puis travailler pour Mike. Mike est en effet un beau travail. Puis aussi, il y a quelque chose qu'il n'a pas mentionné, mais il a fait un peu un tour du chapeau cette année parce que finalement, la B.A présente que des artistes qui n'ont jamais participé à la B.A. Donc, ça a vraiment été un gros travail de recherche que Michael a fait, d'aller chercher des artistes que finalement, on ne connaissait pas ici au Québec. Puis tu sais, on a des artistes justement très forts au Québec, autochtones. On a parlé de Kent Monkman, on a Nadia Mir, justement, qui est très affiliée avec Armure aussi. Donc, tu sais, c'est des artistes qui ont souvent eu une présence ici. Puis là, de justement pouvoir donner la chance, le bâton à d'autres artistes peut-être plus émergents, ça a vraiment été, c'est ça, un gros truc qui s'est donné puis qui a réussi avec brio. Puis ça a été vraiment un plaisir aussi, entre autres, on a le catalogue qui arrive bientôt. Je ne sais pas si Michael voulait en parler un petit peu. Catalog, but that's going to be a big piece of the B.A that's coming and that people will be able to provide. Ça va être tout qu'un livre.
So, Michael, you are invited to present the catalog. That will be something special, and we maybe you can give us. Is it ready? Can we have it now?
It's not quite ready. It's still going to be another couple weeks. But Sébastien Aubin was the designer, and we thought it was important to have an Indigenous. I try to get as much Indigenous people as I can involved in the project in general. So it's a 100-page hardcover, and it's bold. It's really bold. He's like a real professional designer, so it's quite exciting, and it's quite a bit different from the past catalogs because I've always done them in house. And like we said, the project is growing so big now, I have to delegate. And I was happy to do that. And it's nice because it gives another voice, especially to an Indigenous person. And they had a lot of fun with the styling of text. They were even making the language of the text, distinct to show the difference in language. But you'll be able to see it hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
And I feel also it kind of pushed you outside of your comfort zone, having to deal with another designer and like bringing something, like you said, super bold. Like it gave like B.F.A another, I don't know, orientation that was to explore, I think.
Yeah, I think that's important, especially I like that. Like when we have different curators, I think that's important too. Like it's always been me and then another person and then me and then another person. But I think it's important to give that a voice to other people, and to be able to have different artists and reach.
Okay, we welcome Gabrielle now, Piché with. We have almost the whole team of Terres en Vue. Just one is missing. I have to leave now. So, Gabrielle, step into my shoes, and I let you with Gabrielle and Alexandre. And thank you very much, Michael, Beatrice.
Thank you.
I am really happy to know you through screen and probably sooner than later in person. And I let you in good hands with my dear colleagues.
Thank you.
Donc, salut. Hi. So I was looking at the website of the B.F.A, and oh my God, as you said, Beatrice, there's a lot of artists that never made it before to the B.F.A. And this is a huge selection. I mean, a huge work. And Mike, I was wondering, how did you manage with your team to pull that out, even within the pandemic? I mean, how did you do it? Was it magic thing or how? Tell me.
Actually, it was easier than the pandemic because 2 years ago, when we were supposed to launch, that's when they closed all the venues. And then we're like, oh my God, like, what do we do? Oh, we got to go virtual. And then all of us were like, we got to learn how to use Zoom. And that was a major stress to make that shift to the virtual. But that was a lot more stressful. This time it's easy because the exhibitions are open. You can come, and I find it's, better.
Cool. And I was wondering, how did you came in contact with the art of Dwayne Isaac? I mean, it literally set the armor on fire with all this picture. What happened with this project? It seems those pictures are amazingly... C'est vraiment une œuvre que j'ai trouvée... Wow, elle interpelle. Je voulais voir, vous, quand vous faites la sélection des œuvres comme ça, comment vous êtes entré en contact avec l'artiste et avec ce projet-là, entre autres?
I think that image, it's really powerful, and that's why we selected that one. And we kind of like have a strategy to keep using the same image on many ads in many places, just to kind of keep circulating that image. So Dwayne, I discovered that on Canadian Art. They had done an article, like an online article, about Indigenous sovereignty. And so as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I definitely have to have that in the show. And a lot of the other artists too, I'm mostly looking online. I'm just endlessly scrolling and saving and going down the rabbit hole of exhibitions and going through CVs and going through their friends and their friends. And, but it's actually, I quite enjoy it. And I really like just organizing it and scheduling things is fun. And I like to give that opportunity to artists. Like, hey, do you want to be in a show? Here's some money. You know, that's fun. It's a real privilege.
Nice. And on peut aussi voir, on remarque à travers les différents diffuseurs, parce que oui, le thème de cette année, c'est Land Back, mais chaque lieu de diffusion a un sous-thème qui rejoint en fait ce Land Back-là. Par exemple, la terre-mère, l'immensité des territoires, bon, il y a des différentes nations qui sont représentées aussi. Je voulais savoir, Mike, comment vous avez fait pour déterminer les sous-thèmes de chaque galerie, en fait? Comment sont venues les idées?
That's a good question. It kind of happened organically because I started about last September, and that's when we decided on our theme, land back. So I'm just searching everything land, you know, everything about relating to the land, you know, politically and not politically. And then as soon as I started like building my list, slowly I started saying, okay, this person for this space, and then that artist, and it kind of just grew from there. But yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Like at the Museum of Sherbrooke, we have this northern theme. I was thinking about land back, like the changing climate and the melting icebergs. So I was thinking about that in terms of like, you know, about land. So that was one of the first ones that I came up with, and then the rest followed.
Nice. And as André said earlier, because it keep growing and growing, the number of places where we can admire the B.F.A. Like in 2020, I think there were less places, but how do you approach, or those museums, are they the one that come to you, or how does it work? How do you select your partnership with those galleries? How does it work?
I think for each one, they came to us. And then there's been reoccurring ones, like the Stuart Hall has been with us since 2014. And then, you know, also the Guild and the McCord, they've always been a partner. And and it continues. We keep getting people contacting us and asking if it's possible. So it's quite nice. It's nice to have all these places available to us, you know. As an artist, I remember how hard it is to find a place to show your work. And now I'm in a position I have too many places. You know, it's hard to find. You know, I was worried that it's always a question of how many artists and how much artwork in each space. And that was a big stress for me to make sure there's enough to see and it makes sense together as a whole.
Oui. Moi, j'aurais une question aussi pour vous deux, Béatrice, Mike. Votre coup de cœur de cette année au B.F.A 2022, là, qu'est-ce que vous suggériez pour les gens qui ne connaissent pas la Biennale? Quel serait leur premier stop à effectuer, leur première escale?
What do you think, Beatrice?
Ah, c'est dur. Moi, j'ai eu personnellement un coup de cœur pour Sherbrooke. Entre autres, personnellement, j'ai eu beaucoup d'intérêt de recherche par rapport à tout ce qui traite de l'écologie, à tout ce qui traite d'une temporalité éphémère par rapport aux icebergs et tout ça. Donc, le travail de Camille Simon, la photographe, donc, était vraiment mobilisée. Donc, oui, je crois que Sherbrooke est vraiment un arrêt obligatoire. Puis, c'est le fun aussi parce que, justement, c'est comme hors du centre de Montréal, puis c'est comme habitude de visiter les mêmes galeries, mais définitivement passer au musée des Beaux-Arts de Sherbrooke parce que l'exposition est magnifique. Ouais, musée des Beaux-Arts de Sherbrooke.
And what about you, Mike?
I'm really happy with the Maison in Verdun. I like the Devin Roddenberry and Kite video because it's dealing with, you know, futurist thought, but it's dealing with conspiracy theory and all this kind of weirdness about, you know, UFOs and cults, and Elon Musk is in there, and you know, it's just this it's a really, really interesting video, and it works well together as a group. And actually, Beatrice is there every Saturday to help people with the VR. So she's there to help, explain the other pieces and assist with that.
Cool.
Oui, ça va être tous les samedis du mois de mai, en fait, que je vais être sur place pour justement pouvoir faire l'expérience en réalité virtuelle, ce que les gens aiment beaucoup jusqu'à maintenant. On a vraiment des beaux commentaires sur cette œuvre-là. Ça plaît beaucoup, entre autres aux familles. Donc, oui, venez à la Maison de la Culture du Verdun le samedi.
C'est vrai, c'est grand public, en fait, avec cette variété-là de diffuseurs, avec les différents thèmes. Finalement, ça permet d'aller rechercher exactement différents publics. Non, j'imagine, ça doit être super pour les familles verdinoises présentement, mais c'est à la proximité aussi. J'espère avoir l'occasion d'y aller. À Verdun, c'est jusqu'à quand exactement?
Verdun ends, let me just check. July 3rd. They all kind of end around end of June, early July, and then Expression opens in October and runs the rest of the year. And the Jesuits runs all full year, so you can see that.
Yeah. Nice. Toi, dis-moi, Alex, est-ce que tu avais d'autres questions pour Béatrice et Mike? Parce que moi, de mon côté, j'inviterais juste les gens à aller voir la B.A, aller sur le site Internet pour découvrir les différents lieux de diffusion. Vous pouvez même admirer le travail de certains artistes en aperçu sur le site web. Donc, je vous invite, allez-y. C'est une très belle expérience à chaque fois.
Oui, puis on est actifs sur les réseaux sociaux. Donc, Instagram, allez avoir une rétrospective du vernissage.
C'est où vous êtes placée actuellement, Béatrice?
Moi, je suis dans l'espace chez Con, donc la galerie Armure, dans justement le petit espace qu'on parlait tout à l'heure qui est réservé aux artistes émergents du Québec. Donc, vous ne voyez pas grand-chose, mais c'est en fait, c'est ça, c'est l'œuvre de Alexis Gros-Louis qui se trouve derrière moi, commissarié par Terry. À ne pas manquer également.
Là, ma petite question pour toi, Béatrice. Là, je me demandais comment tu trouves ça, travailler pour un organisme autochtone, puis comment tu arrives à te trouver la place là-dedans? Là? Comment tu te sens par rapport à ça?
C'est une bonne question. Au début, j'avoue que ça me... J'avais peur, en fait, de prendre cette place-là. Évidemment, ça s'est fait un petit peu organiquement de manière parce que je travaillais pour Armure. Puis là, comme marqué sur la B.A pour prêter main forte à Mike et Christine, simplement parce que justement, ça devenait très gros. Puis là, on a décidé de rallonger de faire un contrat pour que je puisse continuer à les aider parce qu'on avait encore plein d'affaires. Mais tu sais, par exemple, comme le aujourd'hui, tout ça, j'essaie d'être prudente un peu au sens où je veux pas prendre la place ou la voix de quiconque qui finalement pourrait parler au nom d'une personne autochtone, parce que c'est sûr, c'est des enjeux que moi, je ne vis pas personnellement. Donc, c'est sûr que c'est toujours difficile. Je pense que de faire le plus possible, ça, c'est vraiment d'être comme à l'écoute des sessions. Puis ça a été tellement enrichissant comme expérience au sens où j'ai appris beaucoup de choses sur différentes communautés que je ne connaissais pas à la base. Donc, ça a été vraiment, vraiment enrichissant. Puis je pense que c'est important finalement de se mettre dans une posture où est-ce qu'on peut acquérir de la connaissance, essayer de comprendre, puis finalement prêter main forte lorsqu'il est nécessaire, puis lorsque c'est le bienvenu. Puis finalement, j'ai des belles rencontres avec nos artistes. Donc, ça a été vraiment que du plaisir, honnêtement, de programmation-là. Ouais.
J'ai réalisé aussi que là, maintenant, on se ramasse. En ce moment, on a 2 autochtones avec 2 non-autochtones. Gabrielle, je travaille avec elle, en fait. Ça a été une amie avant tout, avant de commencer à travailler avec elle. Mais c'est ça. Ça fait quand même 10 ans que je pense que tu es dans le domaine, Gab. Ah, on t'entend.
Oui, y avait-il une question par rapport à ça?
Alors, c'est ça.
En fait, là où je rejoins Béatrice, c'est effectivement à travers les arts, où on se décolonise à chaque fois plus, où c'est un parcours hyper enrichissant, un apprentissage continuel, en fait, une belle leçon d'humilité, je trouve. Donc, ouais, c'est vraiment... moi, je me trouve vraiment privilégiée d'avoir des collègues comme Alexandre, de pouvoir parler justement avec les gens de la BACA, Mike, Béatrice. C'est vraiment... en tout cas, voilà, c'est ce que j'avais à dire, Alex.
Et bientôt, je pense, 1 heure, on va peut-être passer sur le petit volet linguistique. Comme moi, à chaque semaine, à chaque épisode, je vais toujours m'inspirer un peu de mots qui va sortir de la discussion. Puis, normalement, je demande toujours aux invités, mais je pense que ça s'est imposé de même. Moi, je pensais que Sagimé, ça voulait dire quelque chose. Moi, j'avais pensé que Sagimé, ça pourrait se rapprocher du Saguenay, comme le Saguenay, qui veut dire la décharge, en fait, là. Moi, je pensais que ça faisait référence à un lac, mais quand Michael a dit que c'est la moustique, mais c'est la même chose pour nous autres, c'est Sigimio. Ça veut dire qu'il doit y avoir beaucoup de moustiques chez vous, Michael? Ton micro est fermé.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you? Je comprends pas. Sorry.
I catch on Saguenay First Nation, so I thought maybe it meant like Saguenay, which means the décharge. Comment on dit ça en anglais? Décharge. Dump water. Comment qu'on appelle ça, la décharge d'un endroit? En tout cas, je sais pas comment le dire en anglais, là. Mais Saguenay, c'est ça, ça veut dire la moustique alors?
Yeah, they changed the name. It was referred to as Sakime with an S, but they wanted to return to the original word, so now it's Zagime with like a Z.
Is it more like an Ojibwe word? It seems that for me, it's hard for me to distinguish between Psalter, Ojibwe, and Anishinabek.
I'll just write it down. Oops. I think it's Cree.
Cree? Sagime. Okay. Let me show you what I found about these words. Just un instant. On va juste mettre ça ici. Zoom 200. Fait que toi, tu disais que moi, j'avais trouvé qu'au Sagime, c'était beaucoup plus Ojibwe. Tu veux dire moustique. Cri de l'Est, ici, dans le cri de la baie James, il dit c'est Jimao. Swampy Cree, c'est Sagimeo. En Inuit et Moon, c'est Chajimeo. Ça ressemble beaucoup. Là. Moose Cree, Sagimeo, un peu comme Swampy Cree. Naskapi, ça ressemble beaucoup avec le cri de l'Est. C'est Jimao. Plains Cree, Sagimeo, Sagimes. En Anishinabek, il dit Zigime. Même chose, beaucoup plus proche de l'Atikamekw pour nous autres, c'est Sigimeo. Puis là, je voulais savoir qu'est-ce que ça voulait dire, Sigimeo. J'entends souvent que quand ça finit par meo, c'est souvent pour dire un insecte volant ou quelque chose qui vole. Puis je me demandais comment que ça venait, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire Sigi. Fait que j'ai fait une recherche sur les mots où est-ce qu'on retrouve Sigi partout. Là. Fait que Sigibarin, c'est quelque chose qui se renverse, qui se déverse. Sigiskidabio, ça c'est rester en place, c'est se sédentariser. Sigiskidadziwin, Sigiskadiziwin, ça c'est la discipline. Ça, on parle surtout pour l'encadrement d'un enfant. Sigiskimiwewin, ça c'est la sensibilisation à la discipline. C'est dans le fond, ça vient du mot de la discipline en fait. Là. Sigiskio, ça c'est être discipliné, avoir un bon encadrement. Sigiskino, c'est priver quelqu'un de sortir, c'est encadrer son enfant. En fait, c'est empêcher son enfant de sortir, littéralement. Sigiskino. Sigitejomoa, c'est importuner quelqu'un en obligeant à se dépêcher. Dans le fond, c'est juste agacer quelqu'un pour qu'il se dépêche. Fait que Sigi de jouant, ça, c'est quand tu dis hey, dépêche-toi, là. Sigi webnum, ça, c'est verser le liquide d'un récipient. Siginum, verser quelque chose, égoutter quelque chose. Fait que, honnêtement, je ne sais pas qu'est-ce que ça veut dire Sigi parce qu'il y a tellement de sens différents là-dedans. Là où ce que je m'accroche beaucoup, c'est Giskidabio. J'entends souvent que quand on dit ça, Giskidabio, c'est quand quelque chose doit rester en place, qui s'accroche à quelque chose. Fait que pour moi, c'est comme si Sigimeo, c'est quelque chose qui s'accroche à toi, qui va se coller à toi. Comme quelqu'un quand il va te piquer puis il va s'accrocher à toi puis qu'il va te déranger. Il va t'agacer un peu. Fait que c'est un peu comme ça que je comprends. Pour moi, Sigimeo, c'est un insecte qui va s'accrocher à toi puis qui va t'agacer. Je ne sais pas si tu as compris un peu la logique de ce mot-là. Do you speak your language, Michael?
No, unfortunately, but I've been really thinking about it. But I think since I lived in this region, I wonder if it's better to learn Mohawk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mohawk, I think it's hard. It's hard to learn this language parce I tried to figure out how it works, and I think it's a new. C'est une autre façon de penser, c'est une autre philosophie aussi. Fait que c'est ça ma petite partie linguistique. Je ne sais pas si vous avez quelque chose à rajouter, Gabriel ou Béatrice, un petit commentaire. Qu'est-ce qui s'en vient en ce moment? Qu'est-ce qui s'en vient prochainement?
Ben, c'est sûr qu'on a l'ouverture à la guilde le 19 mai, donc ça, c'est à noter bien sûr à l'agenda. Puis également le McCord, donc on va diffuser une vidéo de Sky Opinka, et donc ça va être les 5 premiers jours de juin, si je ne me trompe pas. Puis, donc, ça va être une diffusion comme ça, momentanée. Mais c'est ça, Stewart Hall, Mepso Verdun, Armure, Brook, tout est ouvert. Donc, n'hésitez pas à passer à la BACA, bien sûr. Puis, bien sûr, les expositions satellites.
Oh, j'ai partagé les liens dans l'événement dans le chat. Fait que on va pouvoir les auditeurs vont pouvoir le voir. Fait que je pense que c'est pas mal tout pour cette semaine. On est déjà 1 heure. La semaine prochaine, on va encore se revoir. On va voir Brad Grouloui qui va être avec nous la semaine prochaine. Puis n'hésitez pas aussi à aller voir le backup et voir le vernissage. Puis visiter un peu le site internet là, si vous voulez connaître un peu les événements. Fait que Miguel d'être ici, d'être avec nous. On va se revoir la semaine prochaine. Un petit dernier mot, Michael, Béatrice?
Come see the shows.
We don't say it enough. Go and see the shows.
It's been a big 8 months of work, and so it's really lovely to see it come to fruition. And I'm just really happy to be able to share the artists and let other people discover new artists and continue the momentum.
Miguel, on se voit la semaine prochaine. Matachik Skina.
Bye tout le monde. À la semaine prochaine.